Today I'm going to be talking about lean bulking. So step number one for a successful lean bulk is to weigh yourself in the morning after you've gone to the bathroom and get an accurate weight for how much you weigh without the water or the food weight. So once you find out your weight, you're going to go to bmi-calculator.net and you're going to find the BMR calculator. And you're going to enter in your height, your weight, your age, and your gender. And that should give you your basal metabolic rate. And once you have that number, you're going to multiply it by your activity level, just like you would if you were cutting. But instead of reducing your calories, you're going to add calories. So to do a really lean, slow bulk, you would add 250 calories. That's going to make you gain about a half a pound a week of mass. And this could be muscle or fat gain. But what you want to do, ideally, a bulk shouldn't last more than a year. Now, you can bulk longer than a year, but you might get really big and you might not enjoy being that big for that long. So I recommend doing maybe a little bit faster, maybe up to about 500 calorie surplus. So if you add 500 to that number, you're going to get a nice lean bulking caloric surplus. So for me, that's right now it's around 3,500 calories. Now I've been weighing myself, not every day, but kind of like week to week, and I find that I have to eat more calories if I want to bulk up, because it's really hard for me to gain weight, so I have to eat more than other people that might only need like 300 surplus. So really, whatever you do, just check on it, see if it works, and then if it's not working, do more of it. Add more calories. If you're not eating enough, then you need to eat more. That's the simple truth of that. So 1 pound of weight is equal to 3,500 calories. So whatever difference you want to make, whether it's cutting or bulking, just keep that in mind. When it comes to cutting, when it comes to dieting and fat loss, your best friend is time. And the slower you do it, the easier it will be, because you have more time to reduce those calories to get to that 3,500 calorie deficit per pound. But for someone who's bulking, the same is true, that you want to do it slowly, because if you gain too much weight too fast, there's only so much muscle you can build in a certain amount of time. Building muscle is an extraordinarily slow process. So you want to make sure that you're building muscle, that your workout is intense enough and enough volume and frequent enough to get some results, but also you want to make sure that you're not just eating for the sake of eating and eating just to get big, because bigger is not always better. You want to get right at that level where you're building muscle, getting bigger, but you're not putting on just fat. So I would say a realistic weight gain for anybody is going to be like, it's naturally, not on steroids, it's going to be like half and half. Let's say you gain 20 pounds in 6 months. If you gain half of that is muscle and half of that is fat, that's pretty good. That's about where you want to be. If you're gaining mostly fat, you probably need to fix something. You're probably eating too much too soon. So that would be a good way to kind of gauge where you're at. You want to make sure you have a body fat percentage and a weight in mind. I'd like to see myself at 195 pounds with abs But I know that may never happen, because 195 is like my bulk weight when I'm my fattest. So right now I'm at 180 with abs. I say with abs, I say around 9% body fat, and that might be around pretty close to the best I ever get, because I've been lifting for almost 10 years. So just think about it realistically. If you want to gain about 5 pounds of muscle in a year and you've been lifting for 8 years, that's a doable goal. I think you could probably gain about 5 pounds of muscle in a year if you're that advanced of a lifter or that experienced. But if you have been lifting for 20 years and you're trying to gain 10 pounds in 6 months, good luck with that, unless you're using steroids, because it's very difficult to stimulate new growth out of muscles that have been trained over and over and over and over. But I would like to tell you that it's not impossible to gain a lot of weight after you have lost a lot of weight. When I'm saying weight, I mean solid muscle mass. So I had been lifting for about 5 years, and then I lost a bunch of weight due to medication and just not eating enough. My metabolism, my thyroid was all screwed up. I went down to about 139 pounds, and within 2 years I went up to 180, so I gained 41 pounds. And I looked at the body fat percentage that I had. I was at 3% body fat when I started, and I went up to about 10% body fat. So I calculated I gained about 29 pounds of muscle in 2 years, after already have been lifting for 5 years. So I think the only way that was possible was because I had previously built up a lot of muscle. So when your body is very small, you can make more gains, and also when it's very new to bodybuilding or lifting, it can make more gains. So if you are small but you have been lifting for a long time, there's good news for you. You can build a lot of muscle very quickly. So yeah, that's just my experience, and it's been hard for me to really change my weight very much. For my show, I dieted down to about 170 pounds. The lowest I ever got was 166 for my show, but I was at 4% body fat, and I was approaching that super lean point where I didn't want to go any further because I didn't want to die, and I didn't want to lose any muscle. Basically, that was the biggest fear. I didn't want to lose muscle. So I upped my calories, but for my stage weight I was around 170. But for my bulking weight, last year I only got up to like 181, 180. But this year I've already gone up to about 184 in about a month or two. So if I continue to eat a lot, I may get up to 195. So there's just one thing that I'm looking out for, and that is getting too fat, because fat cells can be produced, but they can never be eradicated. Your adipose cells will always stay with you, so if you get really heavy and fat, you will have more of a propensity to hold on to that fat and to stay at a bigger physique than you would if you were always lean, because you can never get rid of your fat cells. They kind of deflate. I don't think they really disappear when you burn fat. I think they just kind of deflate. And you just want to make sure that you don't overdo it with the dirty bulking. That's why I recommend lean bulking, because with lean bulking you're just being the most efficient bodybuilder there is. It's really more of an old school golden era of bodybuilding mindset. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, I don't believe in bulking. And I believe the reason he said that was because when you bulk, you really can't see your physique. And he was all about like visualizing the sculpture within. So you know, you don't want to be so fat that you can't see your striations and your vascularity and the actual muscle bellies and the separation. So you don't want to overdo it. Whatever you do, this is a golden rule. Whatever you do, whether it's cutting or bulking, do it slowly. Slow, slow, slow. And this is for natural people. Natural athletes, if you see someone put on a lot of muscle or get really cut really quick without losing muscle or gaining fat, they're not natural, because the body can't do it that quick. But when I say slow, I mean like, 6 months. So put in the work hard. Once you put in the work, then you can work hard. So, alright.